Okay, buckle up because in this video we're going to be traveling to the past and then coming slowly to our present in video game music. And what I've done is I've picked one single video game track per video game generation of consoles. We're going to go back to Atari 2600, then move on to NES, SNES, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's get into this. And to get very, let's say, precise and accurate with what we're doing here, we got to start with the very first generation of console, which was the Magnavox Odyssey in 1973. However, the thing is that this console, video game console, didn't have music. So, what we're going to do is just watch the 30-second commercial of it. Let's go.
Magnavox presents Odyssey, the electronic game of the future. Odyssey easily attaches to any brand TV, black and white or color, to create a closed-circuit electronic playground. Odyssey gives you all the exciting action of hockey and 11 other challenging play and learning games for the entire family.
That's amazing.
Odyssey, a new dimension for your television, now at your Magnavox dealer. He's listed in the yellow pages.
I mean, that's the only thing we can use for our first generation of consoles, of course. Then the next one, it's gonna be the Atari, Atari 2600. And for this one, let's see if you can guess the music or sound of this game. Slows down. And yeah, it's a very basic sound, but to me, it's amazing how melodic it is, how complex it is in its simplicity, right? It has different rhythms, it has this whole melody that it's kind of long. I mean, this whole track was 34 seconds in the video that I played here. Um and it has it keeps moving forward all the time. There's this point where kind of slows down, so it has a lot of movement, and it's very melodic. It's very, also the rhythm. I really love the noise that they used back in the day to do the, like, the snare of a drum. So it's very marchy too, like march, like a march. So very interesting, very cutting edge to the time. Moving on to our next generation, generation 3, which is the NES. And here it's my generation. This is my generation. I was alive. I remember we had an Atari 2600 at home. But I was just too young to even, be able to kind of use it or enjoy it. My older brother was the one who played it a lot. My generation is the NES generation, the third generation. So Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, that generation. And it's actually the generation that sparked my interest in video game music back in the day, because there's a lot of great soundtracks in this generation, but there was one particular game that stuck with me, not only in its gameplays, one of my favorite games in the console in this generation. I played so much of this game, but the music stuck with me to the point where I actually I remember that when I was learning to use Reason, I would go and look for MIDI files of this game so I can import them and try to, apply different instrumentation and different sounds. The one that I picked, it's a classic. to be honest, in this in video game music, and I'm just gonna play it. So good. There you go. So it loops. So this is Ninja Gaiden, the very first Ninja Gaiden, one of the hardest games on the NES platform, and this is Act 4 of that game. Very much a classic. It's like fans' favorite track of that game, and one of the favorites for that generation, that console NES. And Ninja Gaiden is just a classic game. So very complex in my opinion. A lot of sounds, a lot of rhythm, very melodic, of course, like most of this type of games. Um, Older games I find that are very melodic. Like for the newer games where you have a lot of dialogue and a lot of stuff, and maybe the simplification of things, um, things have been a little bit more like in the sound design kind of area and not very melodic. But the older stuff, you know, where like all these melodies will stick with us, right? Um, the prime example will be Mario, right? Anyways, this is a very, I find it very complex, very elaborate. It's amazing that now there's a new Ninja Gaiden like 2D platformer, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, that actually uses some of this music, and some of the composers that wrote this music are making the music for Ragebound. So it's amazing. It tells. I mean, it speaks for how amazing the soundtrack of this game back in the day was. This is a 1999 video game. And I just really like the drums. It has a lot of rhythm. It's fast, and then the bass is in octaves. And then the melodies and the harmony. I mean, you have everything in this very simple sound, right? That's the bass, right? Dun, 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 dun. But then you have the drums that has some sort of hi hat sound, which is just like a noise, and then the very strong snare, and you also have like a kick, and then you have the melody, tin, 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 tin. But you also have a harmony. Dun, 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 dun. You have a harmony there too, that accompanies the main melody, which is amazing. Like I just I have no clue how they made this back in the days. So such amazing tracks. Moving on to our next generation is gonna be the Super NES. I gotta take a little bit of a tangent to explain a little bit of something, and it's that personally, I was gonna say I skipped. I have a dark period in video games in which I didn't play video games. Long story short, I had an NES. I had a Game Boy. But that was it. Like I didn't have a Super NES. I didn't have a Nintendo 64. I went back to video game consoles with the PS3. That's when I jumped all this golden age of video games, to be honest. Mainly because we didn't have, I mean, my it's gonna be funny. When I was a kid, I was like 12 when I was asking for a Super NES, 10 or something like that. Um, you know, I'm Hispanic, and video games are for Hispanic parents are just gonna make us stupid. So my mom just told me no. She said no, I'm too old for that. I'm already a grown up. I was like 10, 12. So that was it for me. I then have a had a PC that wasn't like um a bought with the intentions of us playing video games. So it was a very bad PC for that. So long story short, I didn't skip. It was like I have this dark period in which I didn't really play video games. And we're getting into that period. This is a game that I didn't necessarily play. I saw other people playing it. But I guess this track is so iconic that even though I didn't even know what game was it, I recognized the track. I recognized the song. And I go, yeah, that's a Super NES game. I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't like a when I saw the game and I heard the track, it's like, oh, this is the game of this track. So that I've heard it so much, and I picked it as my favorite for this generation. So simple and intricate. Doo, doo, doo. Oh my god. Nice. Listen to that. That bass. That's what can I say? It's an amazing composition. It's the definition also of atmospheric music, in my opinion. Because yes, you have this melody that you follow, but it's so good for an atmospheric track for this particular type of game as well. Like I don't see how this can be an atmospheric track for a current game, or unless it's a like a pix like old school kind of type of video game like Sea of Stars or that type of video game. um but not like the current 3D, very cinematic video games. But it's just such a complex composition. The bass, the movement of the bass is amazing. The movement of the entire track is amazing. Keeps moving forward. Melody is very memorable. Again, I didn't even play this game back in the day. I haven't played Chrono Trigger, to be honest. And but I did know this track. I had heard this music, and when I actually saw it in the game, I was like, oh, okay. It was kind of a surprise for me, but because it was a very known track for me, even though I didn't even play the game or had seen the game before. So yeah, that's my Super NES track. Is gonna be Chrono Trigger. Now moving on to Nintendo 64, our one, two, three, four, fifth generation. I know, I know. I had to pick also one console per generation. I know there are several consoles per generation. I forgot to mention that before, but for this one, I picked again Nintendo 64, and then again, this is in my dark period of video games, so I don't know a lot of Nintendo 64 games other than, Mario 64. There was a Star Fox I know. But for this one, more of an for a meme, I picked the classic GoldenEye 007. Pause screen, which is it's so amazing that this is a pause screen. And it's actually the 007 main theme. It's so great, so iconic, such a classic and such a meme, and that's why I picked it here because I have no recollection of playing any Nintendo 64 games for me to be able to like to pick one outstanding song. I just know this because of the memes, so that's my pick. I apologize. Then moving on to the next generation, we are in the sixth generation, and for this one, again, this is in my dark period of video games. Still, this game was such a huge phenomenon that it was a track that I heard everywhere, that I kind of knew. And again, similar to what happened to me with Chrono Trigger, when I saw it on screen with the video game, I was like, oh, this is where this music comes from. So let's play it. So so good. The voices. What happened? beautiful composition, lots of movement, iconic melodies, iconic main theme of a video game, right? You just, oh, I do a very bad job at it, but and especially because I'm still a little bit sick or throat is not clear, but sorry about that. But very iconic, very unique. It's just beautiful. It's just the instrumentation is great. The energy, the energy of the song, the vibe of the song is just right. It gives this very soldier kind of, but also this mystical kind of feeling. Also with the voices, I really like it. And then the kind of the percussive style that he chose for this. It feels very like the energy of it feels very, very, very cool. So now moving on to the seventh generation is when I picked up video games again. And this one, it's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time in video games. It's one that I want to get in vinyl. I'm trying to find it now. It's around. It's just I want to try a decent edition of it. Um, and you all gonna recognize it very much. This I love. Here it comes. Percussion is great. Different movement. Beautiful composition by Gustavo Santaolalla. Great, great, great track. I feel like very much identified to the soundtrack because even though it's not a guitar, It's not a guitar that he the main instrument that he's using there. It's a different string instrument. Um, but I compose in guitar, so it feels very much close to how I write music, which it's mainly on the guitar that I write music. Um, but it's such a great melody. It's one of the most perfect main themes that I've heard for a video game, because without telling you anything about the video game, you get a sense, and having played the video game with this main theme, you get a sense of what the video game is. And it's such a great representation of what you actually experience in the video game through music. Lots of layers to it. Feels very simple in a way, but as the music continues, it gets moving forward. It keeps growing. The intensity keeps growing. Lots of more layers, and then you hear like an actual guitar, like I think it's a classical guitar, nylon strings, which is my pick of playing. Anyways, great soundtrack, memorable. It's so sad that the show is going. It's doing very badly. That it's kind of ruining the legacy of this music. But still, it's one of the greatest in my opinion. We are in the eighth generation now. Moving on, and this one, whoever knows me, this is not gonna be a huge surprise, because we're talking about the eighth generation where we have the PS4, we have the Xbox One, I think it is. Anyways, this is not going to be very surprising to whoever knows me. And my pick for this is Birth of a Wish from the Nier Automata soundtrack. Then Bloops. This is just my favorite soundtrack of all time. It was the very first vinyl I got, actually. I mean, video game music, of video game music. But this one I picked because, And not because being the original Birth of a Wish, but this track also is one that's called Become as Gods. And it was one of the moments where I realized that the video game was actually like a musical play made video game. If you've played the game and you've gotten to that scene, you know what I'm talking about. um it's just amazing. It's just an incredible video game soundtrack. And again, and I'll probably be making one of my essays is going to be about how Nier Automata is a musical play made video game. We've seen a little bit more of that, but I think Nier Automata is the best representation of that idea. Um, I think Expedition 33 has some theatrical kind of vibe too, but this one is just something else. And it's my all-time favorite soundtrack, all-time favorite video game as well. But yeah, what I mean, what can I say about this track? It's intense. The sound, it's very different. It has this very orchestral. It's I mean it the arrangement is completely orchestral, but it also has this kind of futuristic kind of vibe to it, like the sound. I don't know if it's something in the percussion, in the beat. It has like a beat that feels more futuristic, but at the same time has this chant, these voices that that add intensity to the sequence, and it's just remarkable. I really like the sound of this soundtrack as well. It's one of my influences when I'm composing. Oh, it has been one of my influences as a composer. Recently, actually, my exercise for Hollow Knight, the battle track, it's pretty much influenced by this soundtrack. Not this track, but one of the tracks of this soundtrack. Anyways, that's Nier Automata. I think that's the best soundtrack of all time, but definitely my pick for the eighth generation, Birth of a Wish. And then we get into our current generation. I don't think there's gonna be anything surprising about this pick. It's actually my most viewed reaction on this channel, and it's just no surprise because it's just such a amazing soundtrack and track. I'm not gonna play it the entire thing, but here it is. I mean, is anyone surprised about this pick? I don't think so. This is just definitely one of the most beautiful soundtracks ever made. I think it's gonna be my second. It's gonna be hard, but I think it's gonna be my third pick as a top five. I think it's gonna be my third. So far, being Nier Automata the first, and maybe Bloodborne my second. This soundtrack is it's just something else. And also one of the I think one of the most impressive things of this soundtrack is coming from some not impressive. I mean the soundtrack is impressive. What I'm trying to say is, I think the reason why it's so one of the reasons why it's so impressive, so good, is because Lorien Testard, hopefully I'm saying that name right, but Lorien Testard wasn't trying. I mean, this is the very first time he's making a video game soundtrack, so he doesn't necessarily know any rules. He doesn't necessarily know anything about it. He's just putting his passion to work, and I think that's one of the reasons why it feels so different, so surprisingly impactful. It's the fact that it's not following any set of rules, any trends. It's not following anything. It's just it's this guy just following his own heart and inspiration, and I think that's what makes it so unique. The sound of this track in particular is very raw. The voices are very raw. The track feels actually underproduced. It feels like a demo. And I remember in my reaction, I was like, what's going on here? Like, it doesn't really sound right. It doesn't sound polished. Um, but when I got to the scene in the video game, I knew, I kind of realized that, oh, now I understand why this music is like it is. And it's just, again, it's going back to what I was saying about Nier Automata. It's the theatrics of the music with the video game is just something out of this world. So if you haven't played it, if you haven't experienced this with the music, I made a mistake of listening to the soundtrack before playing the entirety of the game. I mean, it didn't ruin anything for me, but I would recommend, if you haven't played the game, don't experience the soundtrack without the game, because with the game is when you get the full experience, and the soundtrack it gets even better. And playing it with the game and getting that surprise is I think is gonna be valuable, if you really care about the art of video games. Anyways, that's my pick. Those are my picks for each generation of video games, starting from 1973, the Magnavox Odyssey, and ending in today's generation with Expedition 33, the ninth generation. So, of course, what I want you to do now is go to the comments, and if you can, I know it might be like a little bit of too much of an ask, but if you can, leave me which are your picks for each generation, or at least pick one generation, let's say the Super NES, and give me your favorite track of that generation. If if asking for every single generation is too much, just pick one generation, give me your favorite track of that, in the comments below. Let's start the conversation about this. I'm really, really, really passionate about music and video games, and hopefully you are. Also, hopefully you like this video. So if you liked it, hit the thumbs up little button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscription button and the notification bell, so that way you get notified every time I post a video. I upload a video. I always say post a video. I don't know why. Upload a video. I know it's a little bit cheesy and annoying for me to be asking for you to subscribe, but in the analytics I can see that 90% of you all aren't subscribed. People watching my videos aren't subscribed, so it will really, really, really help me if you subscribe, um, and hit the like button. If you didn't like it, also hit the down thumb. If you didn't like it, that it's always good to have all of the information so I can continue making videos the way you like them. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Hopefully you liked it. See you in the next video. Peace. 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 Peace.